Google has thrown their hat in the ring with their new Google Stadia. But what is Google Stadia? How much does it cost? Does it stand a chance amongst the competition? We're into those questions and more right now. So what is Google Stadia? Well, it's a cloud-based gaming platform that can be played across multiple devices with just the internet and a single controller. Now I know what y'all are probably thinking, hasn't this kind of been done before? For those that maybe don't remember the OnLive gaming service, it was kind of similar in nature. You had the base controller and maybe a mini console, but all it required was an internet to tap into a server full of games. And that's kind of basically what Google was trying to do with their Stadia gaming platform. Now, the neat thing about this is it does not require a physical gaming console. Now, you're probably thinking, how's that going to be possible? Well, they're saying that they have servers that's going to basically house all the games or be your gateway to the games, and it has better gaming performance than your current consoles and possibly even some of your future consoles. And that's kind of crazy to think, but I mean, Google has the resources and the money to do that, or at least to invest in this kind of concept of a service. So as I said, it does not require gaming consoles, so for the service to work, all it requires is a device that has Google Chrome capabilities. So that could be like a Chromebook, a tablet, your phone, TV with the Chromecast, even an Android-based TV, I'm sure. There's lots of scenarios where as long as you have a Google Chrome enabled device, you could basically use Google Stadia. So as it was announced and as it was showcased, Google of course has the Stadia controller, one accessory for now to link you to the Google Stadia service if you're going to be using it through like a TV with Chromecast and some other devices that are able to connect to it. And looking at it, it kind of reminds me of a kind of similarities mostly to like an Xbox controller. I know online some people have said that it kind of is a mesh of the two, of a PlayStation 4 controller and an Xbox One controller, but I think it kind of took the best of both worlds. If you notice on the controller, there's the single Stadia button that actually connects you to the service. There's a Google Assistance button. There's also a share button, which the similarities with this service is it's going to be connected to kind of a YouTube-based platform. So you will have access to all the Google services basically, but you're going to be able to be gaming, hit the share button, and you can do basically kind of the same functions you can kind of do now with Xbox Live and PlayStation, but you'll be able to tap into another audience of players that you may not be able to have been previously privy to. Now, Google has said that the Stadia platform is compatible with HID controllers, so if you're using a PC, you can actually use like the Xbox PC gaming controller, possibly a PlayStation controller, and some other ones, so you're not just limited to the Stadia controller. I personally think that if you're going to try to get the most out of the service, if you're going to be a Google Stadia player, that you probably should just immerse yourself fully in the ecosystem and just get the controller. That way you have a full feature set and you're not trying to limit yourself by adapting other platforms to this platform. One of the main selling points of the Google Stadia is that because there's no consoles needed, there's also no need for like physical discs or bulky downloads. And so this may be a good selling point for the platform. Saying that, I do think that this would also be a great way to address some of the problems that are currently being dealt with in other platforms such as, I believe it's PlayStation and Xbox, but with Anthem, they're having constant issues with bugs and stuff like that. And maybe with this, if they were to have their game housed on the Stadia platform, Google is said to have continual updates to the game, so you don't have to worry about downloading anything. You just connect to the platform and it's going to already have all the fixes and stuff applied. Now, that's not to say that there won't be any issues or bugs that you notice in the game, but at least if Google is maybe, I don't want to say managing it, I don't know exactly how they're going to do that. They haven't really said too much if they're going to be really on top of the developers and how they do it. I would imagine it's going to be maybe run like their apps, so Google has some say in some type of rules and restrictions that they have to follow. So maybe if developers are staying with those guidelines, then maybe you'll see less bugs and less fixes that need to be done to the games. But other way, it's supposed to be a seamless experience where you don't see that at all. So we've established you don't have to have a console to play the games, but you do have to have internet. And that's where things can start to get, maybe give some negatives to the Google Stadia platform. So Google has said that it can do 4K streaming at 60 frames per second, can do 1080p at 30 frames per second, and then if you need to, it can also do 720p. Now, they were kind of sketch on the 720p part because it does require at least 15 megabytes per second for a connection. The 1080p one requires at least 25 megabytes per second, and the other one is higher than that, 25 to 30. Now, I don't know if that's actually going to be possible because just for me personally, and the speeds that I get locally, I live in an older house, older framework, all that kind of good stuff, so I don't get I mean, I'm pretty sure I get something near to that, but I mean, I do best with what I can do for this regular Xbox and stuff like that. So I don't know if this is going to be a big issue. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. We don't really know yet till it's actually launched and people can do tests and stuff like that. I do know that in most areas, maybe not most, I would say that there's going to be a good number of people that are going to want to do the service that just aren't going to have the means of the internet speed to do it. Now, in comparison to like Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, stuff like that, you only need about at least 3 megabytes per second to run. I know there's some other factors to take into place, but just from bare recommendation, you need at least 3 megabytes per second to have decent service to run online and maybe experience minimal lag. Let me know in the comments below if that's going to be a deal breaker for you with Google Stadia. Is your internet connection going to be the part that's like, hey, you know what, I can't do it. It's not going to be for me. Let me know in the comments below. All right, so let's answer some of the questions that people have been asking. So how much is Google Stadia going to cost? Well, they haven't really said yet. I mean, I'm assuming that they're going to go for, I would hope, a subscription-based service like Netflix, something like that, or like Xbox One Live Pass, the Game Pass, and PlayStation. So I would hope that you get to pay a monthly fee and you have unlimited access to games. That seems like that'd be the best scenario for them. Now, maybe at first it doesn't seem like it's going to be that worthwhile. We don't know what kind of games they're going to have on there yet. So maybe at first, maybe the minimal monthly cost will be small and maybe it's a la carte, stuff like that. But we'll have to wait and see. But for right now, I would say it's going to be a subscription base. And I would really hope they don't do a per game, because that just seems kind of silly. I know that in reality with physical copy, it makes more sense to charge $60 a game because you're going to get to keep the physical disc. It's kind of like buying a license to a piece of software that you get to keep. With this being all stored on Google servers, you don't get to tangibly keep it. So it doesn't make sense to do that. I would say more of a rental fee. So if you said it's $10 a month and you broke down kind of the cost of like what they do for their video rentals, that seems a little bit more decent for 3 or 4 games that you might get to play in a month, assuming that's how much gaming you do. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'm really hoping they do a subscription service, not an a la carte per video service. So what games are going to be available on Google Stadia? Well, they've already confirmed that Doom Eternal will be available. They showcased Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so I'm pretty sure that one's going to be available as well. But they haven't really said much of anything else. I feel like they're going to try to lean on indie games heavily on this because it's going to be easier for them to obtain. Anytime you do any type of service like this, whether it be like movies, music, now video games, there's licensing, there's, a lot of money involved to get the licensing for games. So while some people may think, oh, well, I'll get on the Google platform and that'll get me, more people playing, may not necessarily be the case. So Google may have a hard time finding games. We don't really know for sure. What I hope would happen is just like it does for everything else that comes out, it's like Call of Duty 17 and it's on Xbox and the PS4 and Switch and now it's on Google Stadia, something like that, or Steam, it's all the same kind of stuff. I think they might have an easier time getting the games that are maybe PC based. We'll have to wait and see. But for right now, we just got 2 games confirmed. So because Google Stadia is internet based, what happens if your internet goes out? Well, Google basically says, well, the game will not work. And that's pretty plain and simple. So if your internet speed is not great, you will have lag. You'll have interruptions. If your internet just goes out, Google Stadia will stop working. I mean, that's kind of common sense, but we are putting more and more stuff on reliance of internet, and these are the kind of things that you need to be aware of. I kind of addressed some of these things in my, reaction to a Discless World video. Make sure you give that a watch. We're getting away from cable, we're going to streaming services, we're getting away from the console possibly with this, going to this. I mean, everything is relying heavily on internet. We're using more and more of it, and some of us will have infrastructure for it and some of us don't. So that's just one more thing that you need to keep in mind if you're looking to embrace the Google Stadia service, that if you have a so-so internet service, this may not be the right thing for you. And maybe in the future, Google will find ways like Hulu and Netflix has done to adapt to lower latencies so it doesn't require as fast internet connection, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, so will Google Stadia have a chance amongst the competition? That's one of the questions. And it's different in nature to what Microsoft and PlayStation are doing, sort of. They're starting to go away from the disc. They're trying to go all digital. You can buy digital games from them now. You have been for a while. They have their subscription service, so you can just, pay a monthly fee and you can have access to games. So they're already kind of starting to do that. And it's rumored that Xbox will release a console maybe this year that doesn't have a disc slot. It's going to be totally digital. So they're already kind of moving in that direction. The only thing is we still have a console. Kind of like the Nintendo Switch is still kind of doing that thing. They have physical SD cards, but you can do the same thing. You can, as long as you have the console, you can still put games on it. You can all go digital. So it's, Google's concept is similar to them. It's just not relying on a console. So I think the main thing for them for it to work is if they can master the lag and latency and gameplay and make it very seamless, you know, going from, let's say you're playing on your TV with Google Chromecast and you like move to your tablet, that kind of thing, or if you're able to play with other players seamlessly, you know, it's if you give them the best gaming experience possible, then they'll appreciate it and they'll know that it's been successful for them. If you do it out the gate with a lot of problems and it needs fixes and it's not, the concept doesn't relate in the real world, then it's going to be a dud. So I think as long as Google can, I feel like they have the resources and money and capability of doing this right. So as long as they really have thought about this and can be good on their promises and deliver a good gaming experience for users, then this should be a win for them. And I think that it's going to really change the landscape of gaming as we know it, and it's gonna make other people try to adapt. Now on that note, Google has a bad habit of when things don't quite go like they think, or if they find that one of their products is not successful, they'll just pull it, they'll kill it. There's been countless examples of that. There's been Google Inbox, Allo, unfortunately Google Plus for various reasons, but that's gone, Hangouts. There's been tons of apps and concepts and stuff that Google has done that they've just killed. I mean, do you even remember the Nexus Q? Probably not. That's my example. So when it comes to stuff like this, and I'm not really sure what kind of time frame you need to give them either. I mean, it's all going to be based on sales. So unfortunately, that's the way that works, you know, with products. If it doesn't sell and it's not going to work, then they're just going to can it. Now, maybe the good thing out of that is that the concepts and technologies that Google uses, maybe they can adapt it to something else. But I'm really hoping that this works and is successful and that people adapt to it and then they won't have to kill it. But we'll have to wait and see. But Google so far doesn't have a good track record with that. So no release date has been set for Google Stadia. And of course, many questions will come up and hopefully more will be answered. But let me know in the comments below what you think overall about Google Stadia. Is it something that you're going to purchase? Something that you want to try? Do you feel like this is the push that you need to get yourself off of Xbox and PlayStation? Do you want to be completely in a digital, internet-based cloud gaming service? Let me know in the comments below. If you're new to the MashUp, I cover everything from tech, gaming, entertainment, and more. So if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and I'll see you at the next MashUp.